Alrighty, welcome to a book club of unfortunate events. We are on The Miserable Mill.
And I have a secret. I've been keeping a secret from you.
You've been keeping a secret from me, Kale? What is,
I've
what
been
is it?
keeping a secret from you. Um,
Oh, you
so
just lit
this
up. I'm
desk,
excited.
it's really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The desk that I sit at is like right under an air vent, so it gets very cold because
Mm-hmm.
my air conditioning works so hard in these summers.
These trying
So,
times.
to keep warm, I have an eye blanket.
Oh, that's so cute!
Oh,
Oh my
hello,
goodness!
Zuko.
Yeah, Zuki, do you want to see the eye blanket? Look! He's like, yay, I love it. He's cracked out right
Mhm.
now. But that's so cute! I love it.
Yeah.
Is it warm?
All right, that's it. That's my secret.
Oh, it was a good secret. How long you been sitting on that one?
Since we started talking.
Oh, that's crazy. Like for like a year and a half now? That's
The
wild.
eye
What do you mean
yeah, I've
today?
had the eye blanket since forever, but
Oh, the secret
um
became a secret today.
it became a secret today when I was like, I could do a little getcha gotcha.
Okay. Well, that was a very fresh dictation of you. I appreciate you
Mhm.
filling me in on that little very fascinating delight, if you will.
Yep. So you won't be able to see it ever, but just know that
Hmm.
it's there. It's there in spirit.
Yeah. Well, there's the one. There's the one that's there. The one shot. The one frame.
Yeah. So that's all you need. I can do
Yeah.
the summary.
Yeah, that'd be great. So book four, Miserable Mill, fun time. I will say before you get into the summary, just because I
Mhm.
mean, it's not a fun time. It's a terrible fucking time. This is a nasty,
Right.
terrible book.
I was gonna disagree with you.
Oh, yeah? Okay, then I would love to hear
And
it.
well, just there was a fun time. I was like,
Um,
was it?
um, Shirley has fun.
Yeah, surely does.
They all kind of have
Orwell.
fun. Yeah, Georgina Orwell,
Mm-hmm.
which
Ooh,
was
using my
good.
first name. I didn't know you were close like that. Damn.
I'm trying to be, you know? So,
Mm.
but yeah. Anyway, the only big thing I noticed was that like there was a lot to say about the beginning books, and I'm always comparing them to like what we've talked about before, and I'm like, but like we're just in it. Like it's just
Just didn't.
like shit's happening. We're busy. Sir is there. He's involved. Unfortunately, he's part of it, and I am ready. That's enough. I think my brain's ready to go now. So summary time.
Right.
Kale.
So the children are sent to live and work at a lumber mill where they are paid in coupons and are served chewing gum for lunch. They seem to
Word.
have like a real dinner and no breakfast. Um, the foreman who works at the lumber mill accidentally breaks Klaus's glasses and he has to get them fixed at the nearby optometrist office, which is the
Mm-hmm.
same shape as Count Olaf's eye. Um, and then after he gets his glasses fixed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After he gets his glasses fixed, Klaus seems like weird. And he ends up causing a workplace accident. And then his glasses break again, and he's sent back to the optometrist. And that's where the children learn that Count Olaf is working there, pretending to be the receptionist, Shirley. The middle of that night, they realize that Klaus has been hypnotized and he's being set up to cause another workplace accident.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then like a lot happens. Like Sunny gets into a sword fight um, with the optometrist, and the foreman and Violet go back and forth trying to hypnotize and unhypnotize Klaus, or like while he's
Yeah.
hypnotized, controls
Fucking
what
around
he
with the code
does.
words. Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, and then the unhypnotized Klaus eventually saves the day. The optometrist dies, and then Count Olaf tries to use hypnosis as an excuse. Um, like he's saying that I, Shirley, the receptionist, have been hypnotized and therefore should not be held responsible for my actions. But he is revealed and escapes with the foreman, who is revealed to be a henchman, the bald man with the nose.
Yeah, the one with the long crook nose who,
Right.
which I will admit I did think was Olaf for the longest time. I forgot about Shirley, and I was just like, I'm like,
hmm
because he's got contacts in. That's what it is. But I was wrong. Did they ultimately escape?
Yes, Olaf and the henchmen escape.
Okay.
They like break a window and climb out, I think. I don't remember. It's been like 2 weeks.
That's fair. That was yeah. That's on me. You had a vacation. When I mean, I just read it. I don't know what you're talking about. It's fresh in my mind. Fresh,
Right.
fit, and fierce. Ooh. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to also make sure that I picked up any of the like outstanding VFD references, which there were none in book four, so in Miserable Mill, and then there were not any in, or there was not in that beginning, and there's one in Reptile Room.
Oh, what's the one in Reptile Room?
Uh, so in the newer paperback version of the series, in the Reptile Room, or Murder, um, there is a circular stamp on Stefano's suitcase that has the VFD insignia with a pupil drawn in the D. And then apparently from the Lemony Snicket unauthorized autobiography reveals that Zombies in the Snow, which is the movie that they go and see, I believe, with Uncle Monty, is actually encrypted with Sebald code, which, if I recall correctly, is a cipher created for VFD. They used it in the script for that thing, but interesting. I don't remember exactly how it works, but so
Very cool.
yeah, kind of neat. So right, how would you? You said this was your favorite book, right? As a kid, because it was your first one.
No, that was Wide Window.
Wide Window. Totally. You're right. You're right. It was Wide Window. So Miserable Mill. How
Miserable Mill. I have no strong feelings towards.
it's miserable.
Um, yeah, I think so. Like for a long time, the first like 3 books, I was ranking each book in the series higher than the last as like my favorite. I
Mm-hmm.
think this one has so far been my least favorite of the books we've read.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's actually really interesting. I guess I feel similarly. It's well, I don't know. I think I like Bad Beginning the least.
That's fair.
Because at least like I don't know, man. The big building shaped like an eye is really cool. Like the optometrist, and I'm that kid who's like, I understand that there's nothing good that happens in this book. There's not even like any like fun parts to the book. There's no big puzzles they solve really, but
Yeah, I might argue that like
building's cool.
the sword fight at the end is pretty
That's
like
true.
unique and cool.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it just kind of because it also feels like all of a sudden it just all this the trap got sprung real quick is what it felt like
Mhm.
compared to it being a driving event through like Wide Window where the event happens like halfway through the book
Right.
and then like it's them
Yeah.
dealing with that in the ensuing moments. So maybe that's just a
Mhm.
little bit different for me, but it is interesting. Um, where do you want to start at with notes here on this one? Because I got some good ones. We did have some crossover. Um,
Mhm. Um, I guess let's like work our way up to the crossover one that we had because I think we'll have the most to say about
mhm.
that. But I think that this book specifically with like the adult characters, there's like a lot of people who like mean well and want to help the Baudelaire children, but like just like can't for whatever reason
Mhm.
or like won't. And I think that's like, continuing the pattern of like what we've seen so far and what we will see in future books.
Yeah, a lot of that like it's this passive care where it's like it's
Right.
great that it is not a one-to-one, but it is very similar to the energy of like thoughts and prayers when something goes wrong and it's like okay,
Yeah.
you could just give me a hand as well, but
And like
instead like it's like I hope you do well. It's like they
like Charles specifically, he was like,
will
"Well, we'll
chuck the
treat
cuck.
it's yeah.
Sorry.
Um um what was I saying? Okay. So like Charles is like, when he finds out that the orphans are being made to work in the mill, he's like, "No, that's clearly a mistake. We'll treat you like family." And then he gets pushed back from Sir, and he's like, "Well, what can you do?"
Well,
And just like isn't willing to pursue the issue any
mm,
further when it feels like maybe you are in a position to push back a little bit, man. I don't know.
well, I don't know. I think you may have be misinterpreting it though, Kale. Like,
Hmm.
do you not recall when Sir very clearly like dictates that they have a equal 50-50 partnership, which means he gets to make all the decisions and Charles gets to run his like dry cleaning and cook for him or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, Charles gets to make dinner.
Hmm. Well,
Hmm.
gosh, okay, so ooh, I want to touch on that. We should explore this because did you get the like the subtext that Sir and
Queer
Charles
coding.
are yeah queer coding that they're oh that's what you meant by code words.
Nope,
Oh, then never
that's
mind.
not what I meant. Um,
That's funny. I thought it was so good. Like I thought it was interesting. I'm like, this is still clearly a toxic relationship, but as an adult, it
like,
does seem like romantic.
like
Well,
when I was a kid, I definitely was like business partners because, like, you know, that is
yeah.
they use the word partner. They never use the word like boyfriend or husband to refer to
Hmm.
each other. But it's like, yeah, reading it again, it's clearly like romantic in nature because it's like Sir would be devastated to learn that Charles got hurt in any way, and like that's why they like target him for the second workplace accident. And it's like it's implied that they live together, and it's like they eat their meals together, and it's implied that like it would be a joint decision to raise the orphans together. So it's like, okay, so
Hmm.
you're the kind of partners who have kids together. That's clearly not a business relationship.
Hmm.
So
Which I wonder if because of like the the time that it was written, because like let me pull this up real quick, but I'm pretty sure Miserable Mill was also written or wrote. It was no, it was written. Yeah, it was published in 2000. This was before
yeah.
9/11. So yeah, they definitely were just coworkers. Or
Hmm.
I'm sorry, they would never come out and explicitly say that, especially in a children's series in 2000. But
Right. They even if Mr. Snicket maybe wanted to include like a gay couple, there's no way they
mhm.
could have out and out been like the orphans were adopted by a gay couple and everything was fine.
Yeah, like because it also really wasn't, and at no point do you really see them act like a couple. It's more of
Right.
picking up what they're putting down, and like
Hmm.
also clearly like Sir must be just packaged meat, man. Like he got to be taking care of Charles. Charles
He
got some
owns a
sad
whole
library.
lumber mill. He's
Huh?
he's clearly taking care of Charles.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have to pay his employees. He just gives them
Yeah.
coupons and
Yeah, I do
gum.
think that was funny. At the end of the book when what's his name? Patrick? Paul?
Pete. No,
Pete? It might have been Pete.
I don't think it's Pete. It's I don't have the book with me. It's
I do. I
what's
can
his name? What's in a name?
what's in a name? A rose by any other name?
It's just a
Smells so sweet.
thorn. Phil.
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 Mm-hmm.
When Phil is reading up on like the laws of the community that they're in or whatever, however they
Mm-hmm.
describe it, and he's like, I'm pretty sure that it's illegal for you to just pay us in coupons and only feed us chewing gum. And Sir's like, we'll talk about that later.
Which is
That was very
ooh,
funny.
very corpo, very just.
Very,
Well, we'll
I
bring it up.
yeah, I've definitely worked at places where it's like if they could have gotten away with paying me in coupons, they would have.
Absolutely, because I mean, they're just look. They're trying to think about their bottom line. I understand that you're trying to live, but the company is
Have you
also.
considered have you considered profit and what
Yeah.
profit could mean for us? And we're like a family here. So really, would you make your mother pay you to do this kind of work? I don't think so. So,
Me see, oh, and that's so funny because I think doesn't Sir bring up at one point that like I thought we are supposed to treat them like family, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you mean?
yeah.
Half the
We
people
treat
down
all
there
of
are
our
my
workers like
cousins."
family. Yeah. he says something to that effect when Charles is like, "Why can't the kids like live with us? Treat them like family." And he's like, "We treat all of our employees like family."
Exactly. Like everyone's good. Everyone's fine.
Right.
Very just they never do anything. Um Count Olaf's disguises are just leaving so much to be desired, but maybe we wait because that might be a bigger point to
I
get
have other
into.
things. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
like to talk
yeah.
about.
Please do. Hmm.
There's a quote. Well, like Charles is talking to the kids, and he's like, "You have to forgive Sir. He's had a terrible childhood." And Violet says, "I think I'm having a terrible childhood right now." And I thought that was
That
so I wrote it down.
was very very good.
Hmm.
It's that like, hey, you have to understand. Like, I relate to that a lot because that feels like something I've heard from like a parent
Yeah.
about a grandparent of sorts. Well, you have to understand they had
Right.
like a rough life. I'm like, does that excuse the monstrous things he's done though? Like,
Right. Where it's like, well, my mother would do this, this, and that, so you're so lucky. And it's like, but you're still being, like this to me.
yeah, like, hey man, I am sorry that you went through all of that. Like, I feel like I understand you a lot better, but you do realize that you don't have to act like this, right? Oh wait, you're
Right.
still choosing to, or in this case, like you did. Yeah, like no, he just chose to be like that. Like,
Yep.
no, that doesn't affect it at all. It's like, well, it's a different time. I was alive at part of it. No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I'm having a terrible childhood right
I'm
now.
I'm having a terrible job. It was very good. It was very witty and very like clap back and just like, what do
Yeah.
you say to that? You can't.
This
And that's
is
just it. They don't do
very much.
nothing.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't respond. He's just like, well, you can have half my peach.
Oh, that's right. The peach.
He gives them a peach for lunch.
That's a big lunch as opposed to the gum that they normally get.
Right. Half a peach split, but it might have been a whole peach. Peach
Mm-hmm.
split between three children.
Because I think Sunny got the pit with a little bit of
Right.
fruit on it, and then the other two got the halves. So I think
Hmm.
the peach split was
Absolutely
something I had to
insane.
make note of.
Right. Absolutely insane that Sunny, a baby, an infant, works at
Mm-hmm.
the lumber mill.
6 pound, 8 ounce baby Sunny,
Right.
4 teeth.
Like crazy enough that Klaus and Violet, who like Violet's like what, 13 still?
I think she's
14?
14, and then Klaus is 12.
14. Yeah, that sounds about right. And it's like that's already pushing it. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The baby.
Oh hell yeah! They just always are like the it, when Sunny finds it easier to help scrape the bark from the trees just using her teeth than anything
Right.
else, and it's just what are they doing with?
And it's like it wouldn't have been any better if it had been like Sunny stays in like the wherever their beds are, like, and she just stays there all day, or she stays in
Mhm.
like the library all day. Like that wouldn't have been great either. But the fact that the baby has to work,
Well, yeah, I mean they're like family. So,
yeah, they're like family.
and hey, if they screw up one more time, even though it was a completely orchestrated thing that happened,
Yeah.
then they're done. And it just so happened that there's a woman in town who'll take you. And
Hmm.
it feels like what was ridiculous in Wide Window, they really said we're going to go above and beyond and make it even more insane, the logic in the
Right.
next one. Because it's
Yeah.
just,
It's like, what do you mean there's a woman in town who's gonna take
eh,
3 kids? You don't have to like check her out at all. You don't have to make sure that she's real. She
mhm.
can't support 3 kids on a secretary's job. Are you fucking kidding me?
In this tiny town, in this tiny little town where the only other people are coupons that you make, this person showed up in the same week that the new foreman did. Ooh, the foreman, what was his name? It's
Lakatono.
Flacatono. That's right. Foreman Flacatono, who is the bald man, right, with the hook nose.
Yeah.
Very fun. Did you notice? Did you catch that he wasn't who he was gonna be? Who he said he was from the get go?
Well, yeah, like I remembered that Count Olaf was Shirley, and that Foreman Flacatono therefore had to be like a henchman because
Mm.
like the way he set up where it's like we used to have a really nice foreman, but then he like mysteriously disappeared and like retired or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now we have this new foreman who hates the kids specifically, and it's like, okay, well, he's clearly works for Count Olaf at the very least.
Yeah. Well, and plus it's the anagram again. Uh,
Oh, is it?
yeah. Oh, see, that's what I didn't put together. Like, I completely forgot that Shirley existed. Like, it wasn't
Mhm.
until Shirley was revealed that I was like, oh yeah, Shirley's in the game or in the in the book. But Funkaroot or Flakutono is
Mhm.
Count Olaf as another anagram because he likes to do that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I actually noticed that
Uh,
immediately, and I'm like, is that Count Olaf? I'm like, I don't remember him being like. That's why I'm like, maybe he did wear um, contacts because that would get around the eye thing. Um,
mhm. And like, because I think you're right, because like the kids explicitly are like, he doesn't look like Count Olaf. His eyes were like beady and not shiny, which like
mhm.
or something to that effect. Um,
Which is something he hasn't been able to hide, I would believe, up to this point.
right. Which I
And
think is more like a like a like a characteristic than like physical feature
mhm.
of his of like he looks at the kids and he sees money and he's greedy and that like plays on his face rather than like any like actual
Yeah, no,
characteristics
he
behind it.
values you, but it's not for you. You are the meat
Right.
carrying the thing he values.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. He's very much like a shark in a pond at all times. That kind of just like I'm gonna get you.
Right. Where he's yeah.
And like
Makes
his
sense.
schemes are always good. Yeah. That kind of like the hunter, very predatory, and
Mm-hmm.
like what seems to be the lowest effort in getting away with like convincing people.
Yeah. This one especially where he's like, you can't check my ankle for an eye tattoo. It's rude to look at a woman's leg. And it's like that
Goddamn right, though. Goddamn right. You should keep your eyes to yourself. Legs are for walking, not for looking.
I'm looking.
Right? Oh shit, his legs? Damn. Or their legs?
Maybe, I don't know.
Could be. It could be.
Speaking of like that, like Count Olaf in this book specifically is like so committed to the bit with the orphans where he's like, you have
Mhm.
to call me Shirley. My name is Shirley. I've got a nameplate that says
The
Shirley.
nameplate. The
And it's like,
nameplate. That's some me logic. I loved it. I loved that whole interaction because it was dog shit.
Mhm.
It says
It's
Shirley.
like,
It's a little name tag
and
that
like
says Shirley.
it comes back with Sir, who either before or after they meet Shirley is like, do you see what it says on my nameplate? It says the boss. So that means I'm the boss, and you have to do what I say.
It's like, oh man, he really just. It's like who would believe this? This is the most flimsiest example
Right.
used against a kid. That evidence would be seen through in the moment, like without any
Yeah, it is
hesitation.
seen through. Like the orphans are immediately like, no, we know who you are. You're Count Olaf.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, we see you, we know you're Count Olaf, but the sorry, I guess I didn't use all the words I wanted. What's funny is the when it goes to boss or sorry, sir, who has
Mhm.
like a cigar, he's always got smoke around his face, and they straight up stop the book to go. They never saw his face. No one there saw his face. I never saw his face. You will never see his face. No one saw his face. So you just there is no
Quit
face.
asking.
Yeah, which part of me was like, but what's that face look like? God damn it! And it's like, no. That's the point. You have to just accept it. That like
Hmm. And I
he
think it's like
of all mysteries,
it
this is a red herring.
right, and it plays well to like the whole like faceless corporation thing where it's like it's so big you don't know who's at top, who's on top. So
Hmm.
it's like that.
Yeah, a lot of criticism of consumerism, capitalism as well,
Right. And
in
like
terms of the exploitative labor and what goes into the. Do people ever think about how their walls are lined with the Lucky's what is it, Lucky
the
Mills?
lucky. Lucky Smells
Oh yeah,
Lumbermill,
yeah. Lucky Smells Lumbermill.
and like the stamp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The stamp machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting because it's very like, oh yeah, like again as an adult, I'm like, oh man, that mill would have been terrible, and it's like, no, that sounds like really shitty normal working conditions. Where's any sense of
Yeah.
regulatory body?
It sounds terrible. It does not sound unrealistic,
Sounds like
except
Amazon
for
fulfillment center.
right, except for maybe the fact that Sunny was there.
Yeah, maybe. Well, on paper, legally speaking, yes, there would not be an
Right.
infant working. An independent contractor, a young up and coming entrepreneur, a
Mm-hmm.
hustler, an
A
intern,
volunteer?
a vol- Yes, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Oh man, that was really good. There actually is a lot more to this book that I think I like upon reading it. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like remembering all the little
I think it has a
things.
lot to say about like capitalism, and I think like as a reader,
Hmm.
like now that I've like had a couple jobs,
Yeah, yeah. Let's
I
unpack it. I'd
understand.
like to hear what you have to say. Yeah.
Well, like I understand it a lot more than I did when I was like a kid. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Where it's like, well, like as a kid, I was like, well, no job is like keeping you there at night and then like feeding you and paying you only in coupons. And it's like, no, if
Mm,
a job will absolutely try to do all of those things for you, and then you'll in your fucking yearly report, it'll be like, your commitment to the job only seems to last, um, like for your hours worked, and it's like, yeah,
that's when you pay
I'm not
me.
putting in free overtime.
Correct. And workers' rights are important. Stand strong
Yes,
with the writer's strike, right?
absolutely.
I'm so glad they're fucking
With
them
the
over,
Actors Guild as they go on strike,
as they should. You should never be
as they
exploited
should.
for your time.
No,
Yeah, what were you gonna
everyone
say?
deserves to make a livable wage, no matter what. No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, they shouldn't be able to afford to live on, like, working at a fast food place is a criticism you'll hear a lot. And it's like, why not? Do you think it's
Yeah.
because it devalues the amount of money you make because you base how much money you make off of how low they're willing to pay somebody?
Hmm.
Because, like, if you feel like you're undervalued, why don't you ask for more money? We keep getting more responsibilities, but the pay increase is just proportional to the rate of inflation most of the time.
Hmm.
So you're not actually getting a raise. You're typically just losing money
You're typically, yeah, you're making the same at best. And also, I don't know who
in the
needs to hear
U.S.
this. Increasing the minimum wage. Who cares if that makes, inflation go up? Inflation's been going up, you know?
Correct. Also, people are like, well, what if you make minimum wage $15? They're going to make a cheeseburger $15. It's like, well, one, they're getting close, and two,
First of all,
it's. Do you think that
McDonald's
they're just cutting into their profit? They could just make a little less profit.
McDonald's is already trying its hardest to sell the most amount of food for as expensive as they can, with
Just
people still buying it. That will not be affected. That greed and that corporate mentality to always make more will not be affected by their workers being able to make rent.
no, not at all, because they'll find somebody else who's willing to do it. Because if they're going to pay that much, oh wow! And to think if they're suddenly going to be paying them $15 over the 780, oh man,
Mhm.
oh to make 780 back in the day, 10 years ago would have been nice.
10 years ago, when
I
780 was enough to like actually
think
cover expenses.
kinda, yeah. Actually, I think that was minimum wage. I got a raise one year when I worked at Safeway in the deli, where
Hmm.
I waited all year. I had the 1 year, or like the new year had rolled over, and like the minimum wage went up like 15 cents, which was going to be what my raise was. And I went, oh, well, I'm supposed to get my raise, so that'll be nice. And I got told, well, technically, the federal government gave you your raise, so
Yeah.
you actually got it
No, I
early.
got that too. I got that last year. New Mexico's minimum wage went up 50 cents, and my boss was like, you've been with us for a year and you've had two like promotions, so we're gonna give you a 50-cent raise. And I said, on top of the minimum wage raise? And she said, no,
So you didn't give me a raise.
no,
You actually brought me back to the minimum wage,
right.
which they're like, no, 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 no. And it's like, yeah. Both of those statements are true. No, you didn't decrease my pay, but now you're more. It is not costing you as much because you now have to already account for it.
Right. You could hire someone today and they would make as much as I make after working here for a year.
That's the fucked up part. That's I think what people don't do. They're not paying their long time
Discuss your
employees.
wages with your coworkers.
You should. It's not illegal.
Everybody watching. It's not illegal. And if they tell you it's illegal, contact a fucking lawyer.
Although check to make sure you're at will's like right to work state, depending.
Yep.
I don't know about all that for every state, but yeah, absolutely.
I'm just a little guy. I don't know. I don't know about
economics,
legal things. I'm just a little guy.
A little teehee.
Yeah.
A little har.
A little teehee for me. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. You good? You happy? You nervous?
No, I'm mad because now I'm thinking about how much money I make and it makes me mad.
Yeah, honestly.
Because like I'm a waitress, so I make $2.50 an hour and then tips.
Which is fucking insane. That should be illegal.
I work myself to the bone for $2.50 an hour.
Minimum.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get good tips.
Yeah, I'm very pretty.
Yeah.
People love tipping a pretty girl.
You just gotta smile and then just like, yeah, like that. And then you just go, whoa there, big guy, another water. And then it's like another $5. You just got there with a couple of big guys and they're like, whoa, ho, ho. Hey there, let's slow down. You know, you hit them with the don't tell the wife. And then like, boom. Maybe throw in a boomer joke here and there. Complain about a millennial. Ooh.
Throw in a, you want a side of fries with that? It'll be our little secret.
Ooh, that's good. The little lean in, our little secret. They're like, is the secret going to be a phone number? And it's like, absolutely not. The only number I want is whatever you're writing in the tip line.
Right.
You can write your phone number there. That's fine.
Yeah, you can write your phone number in the tip line. I'll cash it in. This is true.
Yeah. I love exploiting men. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It sucks. It's shitty. That is just fucking shitty, and they really should pay. Tipping culture. I could go on like a whole thing about it because it's like I understand we are allowed to be critical of a system while also still actively participating in it because the other option is death. So like,
I went to a restaurant recently that said like our waiters make a livable wage like on the menu. So if you're going to tip, do so because you know your service was really good and you want them to pocket that and not because you're worried that they won't be able to like pay for food, like something along those lines of like tipping is optional. And it was very nice to see just like a restaurant that was like, yeah, you don't have to tip, you can.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay, yeah, if you want to. Yeah, like it feels good. It feels recommended.
It feels much better to tip when you don't have to.
Yes. It is a demand expectation. Or like I can understand if I have a large group that like on the menu it will say like auto gratuity. And I'm like, okay, cool. That means we're good. If you guys are good with that, then we're good with that. It's then like, well, there's also like more of a tip. And it's like, is that auto gratuity not your tip? Because it should be. That's like, I'm fine with paying that. But if that's just what they're taking off the top because we're two tables pushed together, that's ridiculous.
No, it is. Or at least, you know, the place
it should be. Yeah.
Because it's like when you have a table of 8 and your check comes out at like $300, suddenly people get very tight around the purse.
They're like, whoa.
Tip.
It's like
because 20% of $300 is a lot.
60, I think, right?
Yeah.
I did that fast. Oh.
Wow.
Thanks. I tried.
Okay, we should talk about the book.
Yeah, no. We absolutely should. One thing kind of funny. So I was listening to it on the audiobook on my walk this morning to try to like it's nice for now that I know that I have that as an option because I am someone who does like to read the books. Like I'm going to be able to read these a lot faster because there are days where I'm like, I just have too much shit going on. I can't sit and read. Didn't even think about like, well, I could just listen to it because then it's like I can be zoned out in the book with like pen and paper nearby, while I'm also,
Hmm.
I don't know, doing my dishes and shit.
Multitasking.
Multitask. The way that the person talked as Sir, the person in the audiobook was very like, and I said this, so obviously it must mean this. Like I filled this out. Very
Hmm.
big Ben Shapiro energy, and it made
Yeah.
it so much funnier to just think about any of his lines. Like I opened up the book and read a few of them, and I'm just like, in his voice, I'm like, okay,
Ben
yeah, he's Betty
Shapiro.
Shafts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Ben Shapiro would say shit like this.
Absolutely. It's just like exploited. Like I thought that well actually Crowder did. They got him on tape with that of like I said that if you guys screw up, I thought we already dealt with this. If we screw up, you guys are out. No more mistakes.
Hmm.
So I thought we kinda handled this. It's like it feels
Right.
like you handled it without doing anything.
Yeah, very much that energy of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, just be good at your job, 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Who's untrained and wrong.
Right. Right. And starving.
Correct. That part. It just made me think of the interaction where he first breaks his glasses, and they're like, "Well, what? Anyone with glasses, even a kid could see." And then Klaus is like, "I'm currently a kid and I can't see." A
Yeah.
lot of that
Yeah.
dry, like observational, like, you're using a phrase, but you're talking to actual kids. Where like Violet going, "I'm currently in a bad childhood,"
Having it. Right,
or,
right, right, right.
I'm having a bad
They're just
childhood
like,
right now.
yeah, the age of these kids is like being taken for granted, where it's like, well, you're old enough to work at a lumber mill. Clearly, you're old enough to be like experienced in the world. And it's like, no, they're not. They're still very much children.
Yeah, they're very like they're always treated like they're just numbers or a burden or like you should be able to take care of yourselves, you guys, because you guys have been doing so fine up to this point, and
Right.
like do whatever, and it just continues like the it continues to just like pushing the bucket and moving the goalposts and just never giving these kids a moment of peace with like
Mhm.
the very beginning of the book opening up with Poe talking about how he got promoted to vice president of coins or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's something of coins, and so like he's gonna be a lot busier now, so you gotta call him in advance if you need him, which is like, okay, sounds good, man, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like they already know he's
Also,
never
why he
helped.
wasn't in this book a lot.
For good reason, because they just,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it just makes me so mad. It all makes me mad.
Hmm.
Um, I want to go into the big thing because I think we'll have a lot to talk about it. But the only other thing I had on my notes, and then whatever else you have on your notes, I'll give it over to you. Uh,
Hmm.
is I really liked how in this book we actually got Klaus and Violet in a like fish out of water, where they both had to kind of do what the other person does because the normal person is incapacitated in some capacity.
Right. Where Violet had to read a book and Klaus had to invent something.
Yeah,
That
Violet had to
seems a
read a
little
book and Klaus
dramatic.
had to invent something. Well, yeah, but like that, I thought it was really cute because like I think it added a lot of perspective. Like
Hmm.
Violet having to read and realizing how the fuck does Klaus know any of this, and she ends up being
Right.
like, I'm just gonna skip the words I don't know, which that's a pretty good way to learn. Like if you can pick up on the words you do know, you might be able to understand what they're trying to say. It's not perfect, but you're a lot closer than you were.
It would probably be good advice for like a child who's reading these books for the first times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me as a child reading the books for the first time went, yeah,
Yeah.
I read like that.
Yeah.
And then the gum, because how does he uses the gum to weigh down the thing, right?
Mm, no, he uses the gum and he sticks it on like a debarker, I think, and he makes like a fishing line, or he makes like a fishing pole, and he sticks the
Uh,
gum to the log that is currently being pushed towards the saw with Charles on top of it, and
mm-hmm.
he manages to like pull it out of the way.
Got it. Pulls out right at the last minute so that Charles doesn't
Right, right,
get
right,
the
right, right.
release of death. Mm-hmm.
Right. Pull-out game, very strong.
Very strong. It would have been a workplace accident. So those kids are gone regardless because
Yeah.
he did cut his
And
foot up a little
also,
bit.
yeah, he did cut his foot. I think he's fine though.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't
Oh
die.
no! But speaking of death, uh,
Yeah, someone dies in this book.
something
Someone was a
dies.
kid.
That's what I was. I was sitting there. I was finishing up my walk, and I was sitting there going, "Wait, what? Are they? Did they just watch someone fucking die? Like violently in front of them? Like, and no one says a word."
Like, I guess Aunt Josephine did die in front of them technically, but like I feel like there's a difference between like being
The
pushed
leech.
into a water and not resurfacing and being pushed into a fucking chainsaw, not a chainsaw, like a
Mm-hmm.
circular saw,
And just
and being
getting
cut to bits, being cut in half.
like these kids saw
Like
that
some horror movie shit. Yeah.
absolutely, and I feel like they didn't touch on it really.
Right. They moved past it very quickly. They're like, someone did have an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Orwell stepped into the path of the blade, and I'm sorry to say she like died. And it's like, no, 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 no. You don't get
Yeah,
to just say that she like died and then move on. You have to talk about the impact of seeing someone get fucking sawed in half.
which like
Insane.
yeah. I mean, I wonder if maybe the kids didn't see it, and that's kind of
I don't
the
know how they couldn't have. Sunny was like fighting with her.
yeah. But if she blinked, they definitely see the aftermath, you know. But I would argue that the aftermath would be a lot more digestible in relation to seeing the event. But
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Anyway, fuck them. At the same time, she sucked.
Yeah.
Although the honey versus vinegar and the honey pot trap was very good.
That was, yeah. That was very, if you don't know where that's going, brilliant.
The reveal that I guess we could. I don't know if you want to go into it or other points, but Shirley being the assistant to Dr.
Right.
Orwell, and Dr. Orwell, who seemingly is this good person, and it's like, no, absolutely not. I know nothing about hypnotism, has an entire chapter in her book dedicated to hypnotism that she wrote. Curious.
Right.
Hmm.
So the points that let me look. Uh, yeah, I have 2 points that we didn't really touch on. Did you like remember what the code words were to like hypnotize and unhypnotize Klaus?
I didn't remember them, no, in the
I
moment.
didn't remember them either, and so reading it, I tried to figure it out.
Did you end up figuring it out?
Yeah, because like when he's like when Violet is talking to him, she says something, she goes like something lucky lumbermills. And then that's when you first get Klaus being like, yes, sir,
Oh, Lucky
and
Lumbermill.
just
That's
doing whatever.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's how I picked up and I was like, oh, okay, lucky is the word that you have to use to get him to do something. And then I couldn't remember. It's like it's a big word
Inordinate.
for
I think it's inordinate.
inordinate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um
That like snaps him out of it because it's like, when would you come up with that word normally?
Right. It's only used twice in the book, where lucky is used a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Which then makes a lot more sense. They can use lucky all the time. You wouldn't think anything of it. Very
Mhm.
creative. Which now I kind of want to go back and take a look and see if I can figure out how many of the other employees are hypnotized, if they're being told lucky and whatnot. Because then like that would kind of like make a lot more sense. Like, why are all these people still here even though they are essentially trapped? They have no money to get anywhere.
They have right. I don't know. I
It
didn't
is
really
it is indentured slavery, but or
yeah.
servitude.
I didn't really read it as like any of the other people were hypnotized because like Klaus is only hypnotized to cause accidents.
Ah, that's a good point.
But maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the literary like references in this book, there were
Yeah.
two.
Oh, what were they?
So Georgina Orwell, and she has the eye, um, which is clearly like a reference to 19 whatever 1984.
1984. Hmm.
Yeah, and Big Brother always watching. And then when Phil gets his leg crushed,
Hmm.
yeah, did you have something to say?
Just a good one is that a whole real quick, Phil with the leg crush. But the kids get nervous the entire time that they can see this eye building, that it feels like it's
Mhm.
watching them, which is very reminiscent. And it's very funny that that's where Shirley has been this entire time. That like
Yeah.
their fear was correct, but in the wrong,
Mhm.
like they did it in the wrong way. Like they were right, but they didn't realize they were right until it was too late. It was very, very good. But I did very much enjoy the literary reference, and I think I know the other one that you're about to share. So Phil, who
Yeah.
hurt his leg,
He goes to Ahab Memorial Hospital, which
mhm,
is this Captain Ahab from Moby Dick, who also lost a leg. Yeah,
yeah,
just
the
a
the
clever little.
clever little reference, a little book for the boys, a little teehee for
Oh,
me.
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah, with the Ahab and the Moby Dick reference in particular,
Yes.
that one was a bit smarter. That one took me a second. I heard Ahab and I was like, oh, the no sea. And then I was like, but speaking of seas, Moby Dick. No. It was
Right.
more of like Ahab. I'm like, I wonder if that's Moby Dick related. And then when I went to go look to see if there was any like VFD stuff, there
Hmm.
wasn't. But they did mention that like, oh yeah, it's a reference. I'm like, okay, cool. I did pick up on that. So that feels very good. But you caught that right away. You knew hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. Hmm.
How are you so smart?
I just read books, man.
You're good at it.
I just I've 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 been reading.
It's pretty cool. Reading's fun
Yeah, it's
sometimes.
fun. It's fun sometimes.
It's free sometimes.
Yeah, if you know where to look. If you go to your public library, it can be free.
Hey, drugs are expensive, but books are free. You want to look at a piece
Mhm.
of paper and hallucinate for a few hours? You can.
Be financially responsible with your hallucinations.
Correct. I only hallucinate on the clock, like dreaming that this job pays
Mm-hmm.
me. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I'm coming up with a good title for this episode as well, because I'm going to change it up a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll fill you in once we're done. But I got some good cooking.
Okay.
Okay,
Do
okay,
we want to
okay.
talk about the big thing that we've kind of been dancing around?
Yeah, I think we should because I don't really have much else, but I do think that it's very interesting because there is kind of like a lot to unpack with it in a few different ways
Hmm.
that feels
Yeah.
more relevant now than ever.
Right. So Count Olaf dresses up as a woman
Right here on the
as part
screen.
of his plan to kidnap the children. Deeply
Hmm.
transphobic.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, oh. What did I write in my notes? I had written. Oh, I thought of a great pun as well for it, but it was the Count Olaf dressed up as Shirley in just the most like boring or like what would you would imagine a secretary to be. I will say that a note that I wrote was that like the receptionist bit is a little sexist, which makes sense for Count Olaf for what it's worth because he
Hmm.
does seem like a gay man who hates women. Um,
He has a girlfriend. I don't know how gay he is.
oh, he's not. Oh, that I stand by what I said. I think he's a gay man who hates women. Explains the who's his girlfriend.
Esme Squalor.
That's right, Esme Squalor. And what is she like?
You're, you know what? You know what?
She's nasty. She's mean. She's the
Hmm.
worst. They're perfect together.
Yep.
I don't know if he's actually gay.
I don't know.
We're memeing here, but it did feel like the thing that I think I wrote is I wrote Count Olaf saying I go by Shirley. Um,
Hmm.
in 2000, very different connotation. It's just like, no, I go by Shirley. Look at my little name tag thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but that's funny how 20 years later, 23 years later, it's actually got like that's political. Sneak it.
It's very political to like literally this is the trans stereotype about or this is the stereotype about trans women that they're all just men in dresses trying or dressing up as women to try and hurt children, which, to be clear, not true. Trans women are women, trans men are men, non-binary people
Hmm.
are valid. Suck
Correct.
me,
Trans
suck
rights
me,
are humans' rights.
eat me. And so it's like, yeah, and this is the only time he dresses up as a woman, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm. I
In like
will.
the
I would like to
series.
say I don't think that it was the author's intent
No.
to be transphobic. I think, or at least for me, it's very much just I'm looking back at it through a critical lens as an adult, which was kind of like the whole point of the reread. Is like we're gonna find shit that's wrong with it because like
Hmm.
it was different, but it's also like wow, that is a very like I do kind of see that all in a new light and a little bit of like him being like I always got the vibe that Count Olaf himself is an ally, like big theater person,
Right.
with a troupe of the like they have an androgynous member. Would that be? I guess non-binary would be. Well, I don't know.
Fully androgynous would be a better term because like we don't know how they identify.
They have not
So it's like,
said anything, so androgynous is a
yeah.
better descriptor, more
The
apt.
children just cannot tell if it is a man or a woman or neither. So,
Hmm.
which is like the definition of androgyny.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
also the way people in the book talk about Shirley is very weird because like the children describe his costume, and they're like they can see through it instantly, but like everybody else, like Sir and Mr. Poe and like Phil, I think, are all like, yeah, that's a woman, which is like a very
Ooh, I didn't even. Ooh, that's a good take.
because it's like
I'm
it's
gonna
just
go run and grab my book, but I'm
weird.
listening to you.
Okay.
Keep going. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah, yeah.
fast.
I'll
Yeah,
talk.
entertain the crowd.
It's
You're looking great, Sweaty. I'm so proud of you.
okay, shut up.
Saying all the good
Like,
work.
it's very strange how there's never like the children describe Shirley as looking like very masculine and like she has very hairy legs and she's like applied makeup and nail polish like kind of badly, which are again like very transphobic stereotypes about trans women. But no one outside of the children seems to question that Shirley is a woman to the point
Mm-hmm.
where they're like, well, we can't look at her legs because those are women's legs, and that would be you can't look at a woman's
Inappropriate.
legs. That's inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely. And like,
Hmm.
why shouldn't it be? Honestly, it is inappropriate. And I'm tired of pretending like it's not.
Yeah,
It,
you looking at people? That's gross.
people need to stop being pretty.
Hmm.
I shouldn't say it's not necessarily that people are looking at people. I think that people need to be more clear that like I'm just admiring. The fine art on display. I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Right.
Ooh.
Home of the free, country of the
Pretty,
brave, or whatever.
something, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
More or less.
Flag. Yeah.
But I will say, I went and looked at the clip. It did not actually sound as bad as I thought it did
No,
in the
I thought
moment.
you said, we can cut this bit out, but like I thought you said
Uh
fat and
huh.
like that's
Okay. So,
and so
you were saying?
like like with Shirley, I think I agree that I don't think this was written to be transphobic. I
Mm,
think, in the early 2000s it was a lot more acceptable to joke about haha man in dress,
yeah.
but I think it's still like appropriate to analyze it in the current like political
Absolutely.
climate that we have going on with and
It,
like reading it now this
mhm.
is how I felt and like that's kind of the whole point of this and it's like well it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable that it's so neatly played into a bunch of transphobic stereotypes and like
It was hard
right
not to see it. I think
right
like it didn't feel like it was being shoved down my throat, but it's like it was enough that I wrote it down and I felt like, ooh, this is a bit of like a hot take. Ooh.
mm-hmm.
Like I felt a little spicy typing that one in my phone, but I'm like, well, that's like a real like critical analysis, which is always very
Yeah.
fun to do. Um,
And it's like sure I didn't really notice this when I was a kid but it's like I didn't know anything when I was a kid. I was 8 reading these
yeah,
books.
I
I
was a
can
child.
yeah I didn't catch the fucking Moby Dick reference either when I was a
Mm,
kid. Like, I get different things out of reading it more.
yeah, like there's just because you're being able to go into it with all of the like stuff you already had learned up to that point, so you're spending less brain power on absorbing everything that you can to now, like, you don't need to worry about remembering all this other stuff. So you're like, I'm going to catch these little things. I'm going to see these little things. I thought it was interesting how it seemed like he put in they simultaneously made it clear that he actually put in a lot of thought into the costume while also not putting in he put in a lot of thought but did not put in a lot of effort, which I find to be very funny. Not a lot of effort because the kids see right through it. It's clear that that's just a man in a costume, or sorry, a man dressed up as a woman. Although I don't know if it's so much that it's a man dressed up as a woman, but rather that it is Count Olaf, and because of the eyes.
I think it's more than anything, it's that it is Count Olaf.
Mhm.
And like we as the audience, there's no question of like, well, what if this is how he really identifies? And like, is this what it is? It's like, no, this is Count Olaf. We are all on the same page that this is a disguise. This is a means to an end.
Correct. Yeah, like this is just to help. Like this is the today's grift.
Right.
This is what he's doing the one time, and like I thought it was very funny that he made a note to talk about how he had like sensible brown shoes, which just made me think of like, yeah, some sensible kitten pumps, absolutely, some good business.
That's probably what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a low heel, cute little office shoe.
Just something so there's a little click, and you're just working, you're doing your best, and you know there's her looking mean and crazy. But also he is a surprisingly good actor, for as terrible of an actor that he is, which could also just be that like the Baudelaires can see through him and like in a way just see him for him, that the evil and greed is it stinks to the point where like you'll see it over everything else. I figured that the I Go by Shirley was weaponizing transphobia, in a retrospective sense of like, oh, like I Go by Shirley, like you need to stop that, like you guys are about to be uncouth if you keep this line of questioning up. Like you should, because on the other hand of, you know, ignore, and I don't want to ignore, but in context of 2000s, it's like, well, at the same time, you know, if like it'd be really rude to tell a woman like you look a lot like a man, like that feels ingrained into me, and vice versa, like, you know, which maybe that's a little bit of like internalized like homophobia for everybody a little bit, or just gender norms, gender assignment. But even then it's like, well, no, like be whatever you want. I think it's more of just, you know, I want to treat you the way that you would like to be treated, you know, as long as it's not crazy, like you want me to die for you.
Yeah.
You should.
I agree. I think in like the 2000s context, it's definitely more of a, it's kind of rude to call someone by the wrong name repeatedly.
Oh.
And like imply that they look like a man if, you know, if they're telling you that they're a woman, but you know, from 2023 context. Yeah, it is a bit of that fucking conservative argument of like, well, I'll just say that I'm a dog and you have to let me into the dog park or whatever they think.
Yeah. Because it's always half baked, the same. It's the one joke, you know. It's the my pronouns are no thanks or whatever. Which I will say, I hate that I joked about that early in my stream, but it was funny at the time. But what were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna be like, my pronouns are orphan's guardian, and
yeah, it works.
That means I'm the orphan's guardian, and you have to give me their money. Whoops.
And if you don't, then you're sexist and transphobic. This
is the future the woke want.
They want the kids to be with a guardian that cares for them.
Fucking diabolical.
Fuck them kids, man.
Yeah.
Well, like, I made the joke. Now I think about it. It was the what are your pronouns? And I said no, and I just kept going, and because that was the first time anyone had ever asked me what my pronouns were, and like not in a like I'm not woke, I don't know what's up, but like I'm playing Destiny right now. Like, we're on Europa. I remember what I was doing. So no. What are your pronouns? No. But why do you need to know?
Why are you talking about me?
It's not that I don't believe in pronouns. It's just that who gives you the right to know mine? And I'm making this a privacy concern.
Right. My pronouns are only available for $5 and up patron tiers.
Exactly. If you want my pronouns, do it like the government does and enact the Patriot Act and use that to surveil on me and make your own decision.
If you have a crush on me and want to know if that's gay or not, give me $20 and I'll tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah?
I can find out if I'm gay for $20?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And, okay. We'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. You a problem. You a mess.
I am. I am a problem. I'm a menace.
As is your goal and should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trans, which gives me a little bit more, for the people at home who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
a little more skin in the game when it comes to this conversation.
Yeah. Also, why I thought the joke was, I thought that was more tongue in cheek too, as well, a little bit.
It is.
It was a good vibe. Yeah.
I'm just.
We're walking up different sides of the same mountain, I think.
Right.
I got you.
The path split, but then it came together again. We ended up at the same place.
I showed up at daytime. You showed up at nighttime.
Right.
So it looks different, but it's the same. We're good.
Same.
Yeah, same, but different. Olaf's also seems like he'd be an ally, so like he's definitely a bad actor, pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like it does seem like with his retinue of people that like, yeah, actually I feel like he would be pro rights. I don't want to say Count Olaf as a gay icon, and I won't.
Right. That'd be a controversial take. That'd be a bit of a hot take.
It'd be a bad take.
I don't know. Yeah. Probably. Like, there's a lot of queer people in the performing arts. He explicitly hangs out with someone who is androgynous, I think, as we mentioned. So, like, maybe he knows what a trans person is. Maybe he knows what a drag queen is. Ooh. Let's analyze this through the lens of this being a drag performance.
Oh.
A trans like phobic thing. That's a lot more fun.
And actually, I think when you put it like that, because I think we went a little too far. I think we went a little too far into the future, which I just think is more. I think it's just interesting because that's just you and I tend to be relatively in the same spheres. So it's like, okay, cool. You picked up on that as well. Okay, good. Because I do feel like I was being critical of it. Like, it seems like you're reading into it. It's like, well, yeah, of course. That's the point of analysis. Like, I'm not...
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's interesting because you could see it like this, but, like, I don't hold that to be the case ultimately. But I will say that...
I'm not saying people shouldn't read this book because it's transphobic. I'm saying this book has aged poorly and has some transphobic elements that I think were maybe unintentional, but it's still interesting to look at.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But the idea that it's drag
that makes
it's so funny.
That's silly.
And then like makes I'm afraid you're mistaken. I'm Shirley. See this nameplate? I'll tell you what.
She's a comedy queen.
I'm Shirley because I would like to be called Shirley, and it is impolite not to do so. And it's like, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, like,
if Shirley was talking to a man, would you be cheering her on?
Yes.
Ask yourself, orphans. Ooh. But if you do something impolite to me, then I might do something impolite to you. Like, for instance, tearing your hair out with my bare hands.
Iconic.
Truly.
We stand. We have no choice but to stand. Shirley the drag queen.
We here for it. Ooh, it's so good. Oh, and the long white stockings with the pattern of an eye on them. That was just flair. That was just for fun.
Ooh. Those have to be like handmade. You can't just buy those.
I don't think so. Maybe. He would absolutely make all of his own costumes and stuff.
Of course.
They fit.
How else would they fit? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That is what would happen. They would need to fit. Oh, I wish he would Not even like I wish I thought of more words to say. Um,
Hmm. I know we've talked a little bit. I know neither of us have seen the Netflix show. I'm
mhm.
interested to see how they handle Shirley because that one's a little bit more modern and played by Neil Patrick Harris, who is a gay man and,
Mhm.
you know, has in the past at least spoken out in favor of trans people. So like I would be interested to know how they, if
Oh,
they kept
work.
some of the lines and like what they did.
Oh, he looks great. He's a great
Oh,
Shirley.
show me.
Yeah, one sec. I'm getting to it. Where is it? Ooh, copy image. Let me see, and I will try to do my best to pull it up. I think I can make it show up on your thing. There we go. So this is,
Oh, hell yes.
yeah, this is Shirley, which, like, I will say does a much better job than what I would have originally assumed based on what was written.
Right.
But it was also very good. So now I am actually kind of excited because I guess that's episode 7 and 8. I think it's the first 4 books or the Netflix show. I don't
I think
remember.
they covered them all, didn't they?
Did they? No.
Well, no? Okay, I don't know.
Wait. Series of Unfortunate Events TV.
I feel like it would be weird to only cover half of the book series because I think the Netflix show did pretty well.
Oh.
Hmm.
Okay. First season, January 13th, 2017, consists of 8 episodes under the first 4 books. Second season came out in March 30th of 2018, consisting of 10 episodes adapting the 5th through the ninth books. And the third and final season, which came out in 2019, consists of 7 episodes adapting the remaining 4 books.
Yeah.
I didn't know they finished it. I thought they had just done the first
Oh,
season and then they canceled it. I didn't know.
wow, look at this.
They did. Oh man.
You're
They
very
did the
excited about
village.
this.
They did the hospital.
They did the end?
They're gonna do the Grim Grotto.
Yeah.
Oh man, you
Because I
wanna?
remember seeing like promotional material of them in like the bellhop suits from like book
Mhm.
12, I think. So I was like, well, they must have gotten pretty far.
Yeah, I guess I just never paid attention. I had seen the movie that they had come
Movie
out with so long ago.
sucks.
Yeah, it does. Which I think is also why when the first season came out and it was just the first 4 episodes, I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm tired. No, thank you.
I'm eepy.
Yeah, like I've seen it, I've done it, but now I kind of want to go
Mhm.
watch at the very least Miserable Mill, just for Shirley,
Just for Shirley.
just for Shirley, because she is very fun, and like I am curious to see how they expound upon the character given a 2 hour runtime, or whatever it is, an hour.
Right. Is it really 2 hours?
Let me see. I don't remember how long those episodes are. Let me open up
Because like these
Netflix.
books are very short. They must have
Yeah.
to like add stuff to fill in a 2-hour runtime. Because like the movie covered 3 books and it did so, poorly,
Hmm.
but like they didn't lose a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So they did Miserable Mill, like everything's in 2 parts.
mm-hmm.
Season 2 part, like every episode or all the books are in 2 parts. All of the books are in 2 parts except for the end, which is why it's 7 instead of 8. Which I think is very interesting because there's book 13. It's the end,
Mm-hmm.
which arguably speaking, the end has the most in it. God damn it! But how long is Miserable Mill Part 1? 45 minutes? What about the part 2?
Yeah.
47 minutes?
Okay, so about 45 minutes an episode. So that's like
Yeah.
what, like an hour and a half
Yeah.
total?
Which makes sense. Like
Okay.
about a movie's worth.
That's a little bit more reasonable, I think. I still think they must have to like add stuff to the Netflix show.
Yeah, but I think we also are underestimating how long conversations take when you're talking them and you're like gonna have like, you know, the things they notice, they have to like show it as opposed to being told it all the time.
Yeah, but like you don't have to describe anything.
No.
It's just on screen. You can just see it.
We could also just see more good stuff, like Mr. Poe. The 20-minute goodbye sequence in the first episode
Oh,
for it, I'm
yeah.
sure. At the train station going, I gotta get back. Guys, I gotta get back. I'm sorry.
I want to stay here, but my coins, they need counting.
Who's gonna
They
count
need
on my
collecting.
coins?
Oh.
Me. Okay. I think that's all I have on discussion. What about you?
Yeah, I think
Orphan
we
ranking
covered
time?
everything. Orphan ranking time.
Orphan ranking time! Woo! Woo, 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 woo.
Everyone's favorite part of the video.
It better be.
It's
Because
my
it's the end.
favorite part of the video.
It is very fun. I'm excited for Quigley or anyone else that we get to add.
Oh,
Ooh, when we have to start adding everybody in, like this list, like, ugh, I'm not
it's
excited
gonna get
for it.
long.
It's gonna stress me out.
keep track.
It's gonna be quite the quagmire, honestly. It's gonna frustrate me. Sometimes you just gotta work your way up to find it.
Funny, you got jokes.
Try. I don't got anything else. It's just jokes and a couple of thoughts.
Right.
So,
Do you have a list by chance? In those
so
thoughts?
I did not write down my ranking list because I feel pretty good overall.
Mhm.
Um, Klaus is ranked third
Yes.
because he gets manipulated by women,
Yep.
and that is weak, and he has no wits. I don't care that he's 12.
Dumb idiot got hypnotized twice.
I mean,
Couldn't see without his glasses.
he was clever, and he chewed gum.
I
And
can see without my glasses.
get better eyes, right?
Dumbass.
God, maybe you should have been more careful with your glasses if your eyes are that bad. Maybe you should have a
Yeah.
backup pair. Ask your parents.
Stupid.
Well, he don't got orphan insurance?
Yeah.
Oh, you got money, don't you?
I'm comfortable.
Maybe.
I'm comfortable with Klaus in third.
Okay.
It causes problems.
Yeah, it causes some good problems. And honestly, I don't know. I want to make Sunny number one for the sole fact that the baby gets in a sword fight and
Yeah.
wins
And
with her teeth. And like, I'm sorry, Violet. Like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Right.
She did do good reading though, and I do feel like she needs to be rewarded and platformed for. She didn't know words, but she still tried anyway. Because like little kid me is like, that's so important. Words are
right,
important.
she solved the puzzle, the mystery of like what the code words were and how to like unhypnotize her brother, even though she can't read.
Or like she could figure out that it would be like now she was paying attention to the words people were using, right? Yeah, I think that's yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Not nearly as impressive as winning a sword fight with no sword as a baby.
Only teeth.
Only teeth.
Which do you ever think about how that must look? She is slicing this sword down,
Right.
and then this infant, a baby. I have a niece who is a baby. If I were to swing a sword at like I'm cutting that bread.
Right.
I'm sorry. This baby's teeth are that strong that it could stop my blade. Like, how much does Orwell bench? Huh?
It's maybe a little bit fortunate that Orwell died, because how are you going to go on living knowing that you lost a sword fight to a baby, to an unarmed infant?
Maybe she couldn't.
Yep.
Maybe
I don't
she
think it was
didn't.
intentional that
Maybe
she
she
walked
didn't
into the
slip.
saw blade.
Well, I don't know if it was unintentional.
All I'm saying is
You lost to a baby.
humiliating. You lost hard to a baby.
You couldn't even hypnotize a baby, idiot.
Stupid.
Mhm.
All right.
I don't know, but like Sunny was cooler. I don't know. This book just kind of like sucks, not in a content way, but that like No, like it's just shitty. Like what happens to them, and there isn't even their triumph moment of triumph is nowhere near where it was with like overcoming the storm in Wide Window. Like there wasn't really that much of a sense of urgency to this one, which I will say was also a nice change of pace. Like just the ever looming threat of he's fucking here. He's here. We can sense him like a Joestar. We can feel it in the bloodline.
Dread.
Exactly. And so
Stand users are drawn to each other.
yeah,
As to Olaf and the orphans. Yeah.
correct. It's fate. You know, eyes of heaven and whatnot. By heaven I mean the Baudelaire fortune.
Yeah, I've watched JoJo's. I know.
You know what's up. You understand.
Yeah.
What about you? Would you rank those similarly? Different reasons? Different what you got?
No, I think you're right. I think Klaus in the third, he didn't do anything but get hypnotized in this book. Violet is.
I guess he saved Charles, but fuck Charles.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck Charles.
He's not even
Violet
canonically
is
gay.
like very impressive in what she accomplishes, but the fact that Sunny wins a sword fight as a baby without a sword is just, it needs to be acknowledged and reflected in our rankings.
Like Sunny deserves any and every W because at the same time, if she's not getting a W, she's in third because she's a baby.
Because she's a baby. There's some high highs.
Oh, the futa was good. The futa was good. Yeah.
That was very funny of her.
Very witty.
Pretty good.
She must have been on her little sidekick on her phone using that data plan from before. Parents had that on autopay. Smartphones weren't a thing. Cell phones weren't as common of a thing, which would also explain why no one has like cell phones.
We talked about this in the reptile room, didn't we? Where it's like, I forgot that they didn't have cell phones, and that's why they had to like go back to the house to call a doctor.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. We did talk about it. Yeah. I'm remembering that. Yeah, exactly. Same
Imagine
thing.
if the Baudelaire orphans had Instagram. Just think about that.
I will. Now that like feels like fucked up. What would a modern day retelling of it be? Oh, that's just Black Mirror. But it's Black Mirror, but it follows the same characters every episode. And you're like, oh, this is bad. And it's like, it just gets worse.
That's what.
Yeah. Okay. I feel good about those rankings. I feel very solid. Have you been keeping track of where we've ranked them? Or are we gonna do that at like as part of the end? We'll do a whole other segment of like,
Yeah,
let's
think
rank
as
the
part of end,
orphans.
I will go back and we can tally up all of the points.
Okay, I think
And
that'd be
then
fun.
We can have one final orphan ranking and then
Who should be adopted?
Points.
Who earned it?
right.
Truly, right? Like we could get away with it.
It's like a Survivor style. Like only one can be adopted. Who earns the who
There's
wins
just
the
so
most
much
money?
luggage in Mr. Poe's car that we can only fit one orphan.
He got a new car and it's tiny. It doesn't even
Uh,
fit the luggage and the orphan.
No, it feels like he did that on purpose.
Oh, you didn't get adopted? Are you gonna cry? You're gonna piss your pants? You're gonna
Kinda.
tell your parents? Oh, you can't!
Oh, you're gonna cry? You're gonna cry? Oh, damn. No one's gonna want to adopt an orphan with piss pants. Oh.
We need to stop.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I was just saying this to Klaus though, for what it's worth. Like, you know, as men, we can do that to him. You know, we can let him know that he is wrong.
This is really a beta move for Klaus. He's not on that Sigma grind.
Oh my god, the lack of Sigma male grind sets in here. You know who has one? Phil.
You know who has one? Sir.
Goddamn right. He's that Omega male.
Yeah.
He's Alpha and Omega, baby. Just
Hey, like Jesus.
yeah. Sir is like
The Alpha
Jesus.
and the Omega.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What does that make Charles?
Judas.
Sir would think so. No, you're absolutely right. Sell him out for some shekels or for some, you know, OSHA violations, I guess. One of the two. But
One of the two.
so
Okay.
Okay, well, I think that's it for me. Do you have anything more you want to say on the Miserable Mill with this stupid fucking Klaus with the
Nope.
stupid
I've said my
glasses?
piece. Yeah. Dumb idiot.
Mm-hmm. Dumb,
Hypno
dumb
brain
idiot.
over here.
You're right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Kale, for spending another hour, hour and a half with me.
Yep.
We'll be working on getting Austere Academy, the next one, out as soon as we can, making it a bit more of a priority because I realized that we have 2 weeks until it's August. And I'm like, where's the summer?
Our summer book club is quickly becoming summer autumn book club.
Well, and so by nature of that, it will not. I have decided. Also, again, I discovered the audiobooks, and that made I'm very much of like, well, I have the books, so I should just read them. I can't not. And like, if I get the information, regardless, then I can just go back and go, okay, I want to go see what he actually said here, and
They
then
are
like,
insane.
it's almost as if he's just reading the words out loud. If I didn't have the time to sit and read them.
The only difference, at least that I've noticed, is like I don't know if this is the same for your copy, but like the start of each chapter has little
Art.
like pictures,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you don't get that in the audiobook.
No, they do not do a good job of describing any of them.
There's no images in the audiobook.
Which the images are like the art's very fun.
The art is very fun. There's a lot of feet in this book.
Oh, interesting.
Well, there's two. There's shoes and then the feet that I showed.
Uh, Brett Helquist, that's his name. He does. I like his art style is very fun, or at the very least, it's very unique to.
It works very well with the books. Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel like there's much like. So.
Feet.
Yeah. Ooh, feet.
Rather than stockings, but they go on to feet.
Mm-hmm.
Feet are implied.
Feet condoms, in a sense.
Okay. I think we're done.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Right.
Good night.
Yep.
Bye.